Bonjour, I'm your host, Alistair. This is what I call the forever question to the never answer, simply because it depends. Financial decisions, regardless of what they may be, it all depends. It's all relative to your current situation. But I think the reason why this question will forever be asked is because of three things. The first one, nobody likes to have payments. Nobody likes to pay for anything, right? In the perfect world, we have everything for free. Unfortunately, it's not the perfect world. The second reason is because we live in a financial situation, a financial system where we want to maximize our financial potential, right? And so in conjunction to the first point is that how can I maximize my financial potential when I have to make payments? And the third reason is because homeownership has been valued as the cornerstone of the American dream. But if you're not in America, homeownership has been valued as the perfect place to store value, which, to be fair, it is very true and correct. So when you have these three elements put in front of someone, the first thing they want to do is, how do I get rid of those payments to maximize my financial future? Or can I get rid of those payments to maximize my financial future? And the true answer is, it depends. It absolutely depends on your current situation. So if you came here for the holy grail answer, you're not going to get it. But what I can do for you is, we can strip everything to the basics, put together a case study, and then you can use your critical thinking, your knowledge of your current situation, and then make the best decision for yourself. Let's get started. No news to anybody, the average home buyer is on a 30-year fixed rate, as opposed to a 15-year. Now, if you don't know, the main difference between the two is very easy. The 30 years reduces the barrier of entry into homeownership by making the monthly payments more digestible, as opposed to the 15-year where the monthly payments are higher, but the interest rate is lower. Just to be very clear here, 30-year mortgage rate, you're going to end up paying significantly more than if you had a 15-year. I always say, if you have the funds, if you have the money, always go for the 15-year rate. But of course, if you cannot, and you want to buy the home, go for 30 years, right? No big deal here. Now, the second most important piece of information that we need is going to be the interest rate. If you're watching this video and you made your home purchase after the interest rate hikes, most likely your interest rate is going to range between 6% and let's just say 7.5 or even 8%. If you bought your home before the interest rate hike, I'm sorry for my English, your interest rate is probably going to be roughly on the low end of 2%, sure, why not, to maybe on the high end of 4%, let's just say. But either way, the differences are significant. And the last fundamental, at least in my opinion, is to understand what is the current highest savings interest rate. And I explain to you later on why that is an important metric, at least in my point of view. All right. So now that we have the first three blocks, let's dial it back to the basics and understand the average person. Okay. So according to bankrate.com, as of May 2023, more than 1 in 5 Americans have no emergency savings. Nearly 1 in 3, so 30%, people in 2023 had some emergency savings, but not enough to cover 3 months of expenses. Now look, that is very significant. It means that the average person doesn't have enough put aside for an emergency. And listen, stick around to the end till I give you my little conclusion as to why these are important basics that you need to understand in order to make the best educated decision in regards to the question, should I pay my mortgage fast or not? All right. The next important metric here is, this is according to CNBC, just 54% of Americans had a retirement account as of 2022. According to the SCF, which is published every 3 years, the typical balance was $87,000. So this is another important metric here because it tells me, right, that the average person not only does not have an emergency fund, but also don't have a retirement fund. Of course, you can't make educated financial decisions without understanding someone's debt load. So let's look at the average debt of the average person. And so this is according to Experian. Now they break it down in different sections. So I'm going to skim through it very quickly. Gen X, so they have an average credit card debt of $8,000 and a non-mortgage debt of $32,000, right? So roughly with these $40,000 in debt that they have. Let's go with millennials. So this is where I fall in this category. So credit card debt of $6,000 and change, total non-mortgage debt of $30,000. So $36,000 the average millennial has in debt. And these are important numbers. So let's write this down. So we laid some fundamentals and some basics of the average person. And before I tell you my final thought, it's important for me to say that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just an investor who has made very smart decisions. That's it. So take my information with a grain of salt. Of course, consult with your tax person, your accountant, your lawyers, and all your financial people. All right? Okay, now the disclaimers are out of the way. Let me tell you a little bit what I think. What's important here is that these average numbers, those data, of course, they may not be in stone and they may not be absolute, but they're not taken out of thin air. So there's some reality or some truth to those numbers. I'm so sorry for my English, it's difficult today. Bringing it into context is that if you're an average person, which most people are, and there's no offense to that, right? Most people are average. If you're an average person, you are most likely not in the position to start thinking about paying off your mortgage sooner. Your priority should be having an emergency fund, putting money aside for your retirement, paying down your debt, paying down your consumer debt aggressively. Pay that stuff down. And the fourth one is start investing, because I'll tell you why. If you look at the interest rate given to you by savings accounts, it's 5%. And if you are a person thinking about should I pay off my house sooner or not, most likely your interest rate is lower than that. So just by you taking your extra payments, putting it in the bank, you're making more than if you were to pay off the house. But furthermore, because this fourth point, most Americans don't invest at all. At all. It's even lower than Americans who have retirements. Take that extra income and put it into the market. You'll get better return out of that. But again, this is a decision based from my point of view in regards to a case study using the average numbers, grosso modo was on the surface, which you can make a lot of educated guess, right? So if you are someone who has no debt, outside of maybe your mortgage, you have an emergency fund that is 6 months or more. You have an investment account. You have a retirement account. You're not average. You are above average. Then yeah, maybe you can think about if paying off your mortgage is a smart decision or not. But this person I just described, that's most likely not you. It's most likely not the average person. I'm not saying it as a diss. I'm just saying in terms of data, right? That's not the average person. And so to add on to this never-ending question, do I pay off my mortgage sooner or not? It depends. But I'll leave you with this one last piece of information, you can say. I have yet to meet someone, or have yet to encounter someone, or look it up online, or even read into a magazine or whatever it may be, people who actually regret paying off their homes. I have yet to see someone who says, oh my God, I pay off my house. What a terrible decision. I haven't met one. So I assume paying off your home early has some feel good things to it. And if you can afford it, sure, go for it. But make sure it makes sense with your financial situation, because sometimes you might tie up that extra funds that could be used for something a lot more valuable, like protecting your future. That's it. Again, I'm not a financial person. I'm just a random average guy who just happened to have made some decisions that happen to be very fruitful. And I'm not here to teach because my success cannot be replicated. My success is unique to mine because my situation is unique. But hopefully I will inspire you, the purpose of this channel, to seek and create your own success. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. I'm Alistair. I'm your host, Alistair, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.